Podcast Amsterdam.
Middlebare Mashup with Margaret Kearns. So, we were just looking at the lottery system, and now we're going on to, Margaret's going to share her experiences of trying to get a kind of feel for some actual schools. Margaret, what have you got for us?
Hi. Okay, so the first school we're going to have a chat about is the Gerrit van de Veen College, and that is a school in Oud-Zuid. The levels they offer are HAVO and HAVO VWO and VWO.
Okay.
Who have that at Vies. So Gerrit van de Veen College, they are a cultuur profiel school. That's what they're called. So they're a culture profile school. There are some schools in the Netherlands who have a culture profile.
Yeah.
You have to have certain characteristics, I suppose, to be a culture profile school. So they what they have is two scenarios. They have a DAMU, DAMU, it's an acronym.
Yeah.
They have a DAMU option. So basically, kids who are already in a preparatory kind of, who are in the preparatory kind of training, if you like, in primary school and then maybe in the first year of secondary, at a few different places. So, for example, it's a collaboration, it's a partnership with other preparatory courses. So, for example, if your child has a place at the National Ballet Academy, at the Amsterdam University of the Arts. So, if they're in Group 8 now and they attend the National Ballet Academy, if they're really talented at ballet, they can apply to Gerrit van de Veen and they can join the DAMU option, and that means then that they have their classes usually in the morning, and then in the afternoon they have time off, and then they can go to their ballet classes.
Right.
So the timetable is adjusted so that they can do both.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other partnership they have is with the Conservatorium van Amsterdam. That's the Conservatory of Amsterdam, the Music Conservatory. And again, if you are enrolled there in their preparatory education, you can continue with that if you decide, not everybody does, but if you decide you want to go to Gerrit van de Veen, and you attend their classes as well in the morning, and then you go back to the conservatorium or wherever they give their lessons for the younger children, and continue basically with your music career. And the third one is there's a dance academy called Lucia Martha's. And again, for kids who are really into dance, etc., like really talented kids, they do the same thing. So they have this collaboration with other artistic academies in Amsterdam that are, highly kind of thought of. Yeah. Really good quality places. And so you can just marry your academic education with your with your talent.
This is it's such a different approach. I love it.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, it's really good. And also the percentage of the sex breakdown there is there's 70% girls in the Gerrit van de Veen. That's quite unusual, and 30% boys.
Yeah.
So they also have a new class this year as well, a new option, which is called Kunst Plus class, and that's basically like Art Plus.
Yeah.
So they're starting it in September for the first time.
Cool.
And so that's for the artistic kids, the drawing and painting and all that kind of stuff. So they're doing auditions for that, and the auditions are in because actually my daughter signed up to go to the auditions, so that's in February.
Auditions for art, sorry.
Yeah, for the Art Plus class.
Yeah.
You can go to these you can just literally apply for the audition if you think that you'd like this kind of program. Yeah. It's on their website, so have a look at it if anybody's kid is artistic and thinking maybe this is where the direction they want to take. They're a culture profile school. They kind of target, what they say is they're targeting creative and ambitious kids with a HAVO or VWOGs. So you get your regular subjects, but you also get extra lessons in the artistic subjects. Yeah. So you basically have to love it. That's what they say. Like, come here if you love these kind of subjects. Yes. Or if you want to learn. I mean, not that you have to have done it in the past. Like, they're saying, look, if you haven't done dance lessons, if you haven't done theatre, if you haven't done music, but you want to, then we're the right place for that as well. So they're not, discouraging kids who haven't had the opportunity, if you like, to have all of these extra things in primary, which is nice. So you have your extra subjects related to art and culture. So in first and second year, you have those subjects would be theatre, music, dance, drawing and crafts, and they're available for everybody.
Right.
And in the Bofabao, in the senior school, then you can choose an art or music subject for your end exam, your final exam. So that's it. And they also, the other really nice thing about the Gerrit van de Veen is they developed an open day app, and all the information is on their app.
Great, very handy.
And I, just about 5 minutes ago, just before we started talking, I got a notification, because I turned on notifications for that app.
Yeah.
And I just got a notification about their online days. So I haven't read it yet. But anyway, all the information, if you look on the app, it's really good. Like they explain what the Culture Profile School is. They explain about all their subjects. The Kunst Plus class is there, the Art Plus class. They have the information there, all about the different kinds of kids that come. They have little profiles of their students and photos. You can look at their projects, like really nice stuff. Like their artistic stuff is up there to see as well.
Great.
So
do you feel it's giving you... how familiar with this school were you before your daughter was expressing an interest?
Oh, not at all. I mean, I knew it was a Culture Profile School. I did know that. And actually, my neighbours, our friends here on the street, their son goes, but it wasn't his first choice. But now he's in 5th year. Yeah. And he's happy. I mean, he's one of the 30% boys.
Yeah. Yes.
He's not actually, like, he wasn't an artistic kind of a child. So I think it was maybe his 6th or 7th choice.
Right.
But yeah, he's happy there.
Yeah.
He's definitely happy there. Yeah. Like he does he's sporty actually, so he does his sports. But he has a good time there.
Yeah.
It's a nice school. It has a reputation for having a really nice atmosphere. You know.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what I was going to ask. Really was so you didn't have an awful lot of knowledge about this school
No, I didn't.
beforehand.
No.
You're obviously limited in how you can experience the school currently, but how well informed do you feel? I mean, I know you've only just received the app, so it's a bit unfair, but you have the app. Is there any other tool available to you to get to know this school?
Well, they have also on their app. They have a video, a 360-degree video that you can follow, and their open days are this weekend. Actually, I can't remember the dates now off the top of my head. But we're signed up for their online open day as well. I was
going to say, this is an online open day, yeah.
Yeah, everything so far is on. Actually, with one exception, but I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Great, okay.
Yeah, this is really good. I'm quite impressed with their with what they have.
Yeah, and hot off the press. It's very exciting. Exclusive. Yeah. Amsterdam. So we've covered the lottery system so far and the Van de Veen School in Oud-Zuid.
Gerrit van de Veen.
Sorry, Gerrit van de Veen, beg your pardon. Yeah. Thank you. And Margaret, so what's next?
Okay, so I wanted to talk now about, it's not actually a school as such, but it's an option for children who are leaving Group 8 as well. And it's not really widely known. Okay. It's called kopklas. So the kopklas is it's an extra year for language for children who need it. So your Group 8 teacher can advise this for children whose language is not up to the required standard for VMBOT or HAVO or VVO. Yeah. You know, they would be viewed as having the ability, but because their language isn't up to scratch, basically. Yeah. They can offer this extra year where they literally go to the kopklas and they get intensive language instruction. That's for a year.
Yeah. Is that something that's unique to the big cities, would you say, or is that universally available?
It is available throughout the Netherlands, but I mean, it wouldn't be in every village and town.
No.
So you might have to go.
You might have to travel,
or your next biggest town, or something.
But I imagine that's quite. I mean, I certainly don't think the UK offers anything like that.
No, Ireland doesn't either.
No, so it's quite a unique thing to the Netherlands, perhaps, with the breakdown of the population and the immigrant.
Exactly. So it's aimed really at the majority of kids who go to kopklas are from the Netherlands, like they were born here. Yeah. But they don't speak Dutch at home. You know, so they're from migrant. You know. Yeah. Like way back, maybe 2-3 generations, whatever. So they have other languages at home, but they don't speak. Dutch is not a family language. Yeah. So it was set up for those kids, the kids who have, a lot of potential, but
Yeah, but fantastic to actually say, to put effectively a hold on the education process, to say, and support those kids and say, right, this is what you need right now.
Yeah. So the aim is to eliminate a language delay.
Yeah.
And this is your chance if you need it. So the kopklas it's located within a secondary school, but the child is still a primary school pupil, and then you can participate in the lottery as if you were a Group 8 child. Okay. You have a priority for the school where the kopklas is located. So there's a kopklas near to me. Basically, there's 7 in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And the couple that I know of are in CSB, which is in Amsterdam Zuid, Comenius in West, and then there's one in HL West as well. So and there's 4 others.
Yeah.
So they're kind of scattered throughout the city. And I guess you can pick the one that's closest to you, but you can't just arrive there. You have to speak to your teacher. You have to get agreement with your teacher and say, look, I suppose make the case for why. Well, I guess the teacher will know as well. So it's aimed at smart, motivated children who want to invest a year, in language learning and get their language up to a level where they can basically do well in the MBOT or HAV or VWO level.
Yeah.
So that's great. And some comments from the pupils. I had a look at the website. So basically, if you Google kopklas Amsterdam, you'll get all the information there.
Right, great.
There are some comments from the pupils who have been there, who have attended in the last couple of years. You don't lose a year, you win a year. And nice. By working with themes, you hardly notice how much you learn in a year.
Yeah.
So, and also they have very small classes. They have 15 kids in a class.
Great.
So there's and so the focus is, like I said, on language learning, but you also do gym. They have excursions. They have theatre visits. So it's
I would. I need this myself. I would love this.
Class for adults.
Yeah.
That'd be nice, isn't it? And of course, it's free. I mean, it's all within the public system, public school system.
So good.
Not public as in UK public.
No. Yeah, that's a different thing altogether, isn't it?
So it's a great option for. So like I said, most of the kids are from the Netherlands already and have grown up here, and then a much smaller percentage of the children are more are new arrivals, if you like.
Yes.
They've been here just a few years and they need extra support. My kids didn't do it. I'm trying to remember back why they didn't. I think maybe I wasn't aware of it at the time, and the school did not suggest it. So that one passed us by.
Yeah.
And maybe it's only a newer kind of an option.
Possibly.
I'm not sure how long it's going. I think it was there when my oldest was in Group 8, but anyway, we didn't do it.
Yeah. And how long had you as a family been in the Netherlands before you had to go through this process?
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember last week you were saying that actually you to get your language up to kind of academic level, even as a child, takes 6 or 7 years.
Academic is in the higher levels in secondary school. Yeah, that's kind of what they say, And also, I suppose if you're studying as an adult, a younger adult maybe, and you want to and you want to study in university, it kind of takes that long.
It takes that long,
to be on similar level, I suppose, with native speakers. Yeah, so he had done 2.5 years of schooling.
Maybe.
But I mean, the first few months he wasn't, there was no he didn't have any language extra help, actually. So he was, anyway, I don't even want to think about that at all.
No.
When I think back, I was very cruel to my parents.
Sink or swim. Yes, right. You do what you have to do, don't you? That's but it's kind of great that there is for those that need that extra level. It's available to you within the system. I think that's incredible. Yep. You wouldn't get anything like that in the UK. No. That level of support. So really good.
So the spelling of that is kopklas. Okay. If you live in Utrecht, you could, I suppose, Google kopklas Utrecht, and your nearest one will pop up.
Very good. All right. And now we did.
Sorry. One more thing about that. You have to register by the 12th of February. It's a little earlier. It's a month earlier than the Middlebare schools.
Yeah.
So if you want to get into a kopklas, get on it now.
Get on it now, indeed. Yeah.
12th of Feb is the last date you can register.
Very good. All right. So that leaves us, I believe, for this episode to still discuss the Klassen documentary.
I have another school to talk about. Actually.
Oh, you do? All right. Beg your pardon. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this one is Het Vossius Gymnasium.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a VWO school outside in Amsterdam South. They have, it's a Gymnasium only program. So do you remember I said last year the VWO Advies gives you two options, Atheneum or Gymnasium. So Gymnasium is basically the regular VWO program plus Latin and Greek. And so this would apply really to all of the gymnasia. There's 5 gymnasia in the city.
Mm-hmm.
So this is more or less how they all operate. First year you get all the regular kind of high school subjects here. At HAVO and VWO, kind of everybody does the same subjects, just at maybe different levels.
Yeah.
But so it's like Dutch, maths, English, French, German, biology, chemistry, physics, economics. What else is there? Art, music. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple. Gym. Gym is actually mandatory. You have to do gym the whole way through your school career, but there's no end exam in gym. But you actually have to pass it within the school.
All right.
They do assess you every year on the gym prowess. Now, it's not that if you're, no good at basketball, you're going to fail your gym class or something. It's not that. It's about effort and teamwork and all that kind of thing as well. The thing about Vossius is it's a little bit different. Well, all the gymnasia are a little bit different as well. Like some of them offer philosophy as well as an extra subject or whatever. So Vossius has philosophy. My son in 3rd year now is doing a philosophy course. The other thing to remember, it would be no harm, I think, if you picked maybe your top 3 schools when you're making your list.
Mm-hmm.
Have a look at their website and see what their end exams are, like the end exam subjects, because some schools, in 4th year you do different profiles. There's 4 profiles that you choose from in basically all of the schools.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for example, one of the profiles, I'm not going to get into the real detail about this, but for example, in Vossius, the N and G profile is unusual because you have to do the 3 sciences in the N and G profile, whereas in other schools you only have to do 2 sciences.
Right.
That's like the legal basis. It's all set in law and all of that kind of thing, the profiles. So it's a bit heavier, like science heavy, I suppose, their profile. The Vossius NNG profile is a bit heavier, I think.
Yeah.
So that's something that you can ask at the open day. If you have a question, online, you can say, well, look, what subjects do you have in each profile for 4th year? Because, somebody might not want to do 3 subjects.
I was going to say that
subjects in their profile.
It would certainly be a make or break amongst.
Yeah, it could be because you have to do it. There's no getting away from it. Whereas in another gymnasia, you would only have to do 2 of them.
Yeah.
So, but then somebody might love it. They're real science heads.
Yes, of course.
They're delighted to do it.
Yeah.
So Vossius, Cambridge English. They have Cambridge English. Some schools have Cambridge English, but lots of them do not. So Cambridge English is basically you can do your exams through Cambridge English in England. You get your certificate. They have 2 certificates in Vossius. First you do the CAE, and then you do the CPE, which is the proficiency in English certificate. Mm-hmm. And if you want to study abroad, you have to. Generally, they would ask for a Cambridge English certificate to show your proficiency in English.
Yeah.
So you can do that there. The other thing about Vossius that is a little bit unusual is you have to do French and German in 4th year. You have to continue it basically for 4 years, whereas in most other schools you can drop French or German in your 4th year.
Mm-hmm.
But Vossius like to go the extra mile and make you stick with your French and German grammar for another year. That's their school.
It's sounding altogether like quite an academic school.
Yeah, it is a very academic school. But they also do have it has a really good reputation for their music program.
All right.
So all schools offer music, or most schools do offer music at VWO level, all of them probably. But Vossius have really good music groups that are kind of really part of the fabric of the school as well. So they have 3 options, really brilliant music groups. Vossius Vocals, so if you're really into singing, you can join the Vossius Vocals group. They have a brass band, and they also have an orchestra. And they're really high quality.
Yeah.
Like a friend of mine, an Irish friend of mine here, she's a musician. She plays with the Concertgebouw Orchestra for years, 20 years or something.
Yeah.
And her daughter plays violin. She doesn't go to Vossius, but she's allowed to participate. She has joined the orchestra in Vossius.
Great.
So she goes there from her own school, which I think is MLA. And she goes there to do her rehearsals with the orchestra every week.
Yeah.
So it's a really good quality orchestra.
Great. Yeah.
They also play in the Concertgebouw during the year and in other kinds of other stuff. So they're involved. It's not just within the school.
Fantastic experiences for the kids, right? Yeah.
So that's the thing. I suppose if you're really musical, like it's definitely a good school to go to. So it's academic, but it's also very musical.
Yeah.
Let me see. They also they have a garden at the back. Some schools do not have a garden. They have a lovely garden at the front, and then they have a big backyard. They have a football cage. They have lots of seating because they were renovated. So the renovation was just completed recently. And it's an old Amsterdam style building, like it's 90 or 100 years old. But the renovation then has added some really nice modern pieces to it. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
2 new gyms, great new canteen.
Sounds big.
Yeah, it is big. Now, there's only around 850 students in it.
Okay.
But it's a big, spacious building, huge, big windows.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
And this year also they're going to have an extra, a friend of mine told me this, so thank you, Sally, but they're going to have an extra class this year. They announced that yesterday on their interactive open day. So basically every year, usually one of the Gymnasium schools takes a turn to have an extra class. So, because usually they might have 5 classes a year, first years. This year, Vossius are the one who are going to have 6 first-year classes.
Right.
So your chances of getting into Vossius now are even greater.
Oh, gosh, there's just so many permutations to this. It's incredible. Yeah.
It is, yeah. Let me see, anything else I can say about it? At the moment, because of the lockdown last year, the government then gave about 300 million to divide among schools in the Netherlands to help kids with their, whatever they've lost out on. So Vossius now, they do a Saturday school for kids who have, who miss out on stuff. And they also do extra help lessons that they're given by the teachers.
Yeah.
For example, the maths teacher at the moment, he mailed the kids and he said, look, anybody who needs extra help lessons, I'll give it not one-to-one, sorry, but it's a small group lesson. He's doing that twice a week or something. So, which is great. Yeah, it is great. Because if you're paying for that extra help, it's like maybe €40.
Yes. So that sounds great. That sounds like a great school. That was Vossius in Soud.
Yeah, het Vossius Gymnasium. It is. It's a great school. But the thing about Gymnasium also is generally you're not allowed. The general rule is you can't repeat first year. They call it doubling here. It's not repeating, it's doubling. But in other schools you can double in first year, but I think in VVO or Gymnasium anyway, you can't.
Okay, you've got to get through it.
Only you have to get through first year. Now you can double other years, but first year is kind of like the one that you have to get through. Now, that said, I do know of a child who has doubled first year in Vossius. So they do make, this was 3 years ago, so they do make exceptions.
Yeah.
But it's highly unlikely that if you fail your first year, you're allowed double. So if you fail it, you're out the door, basically. And
you have to go and find another school. That would be.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the standalone gymnasia. Like I said, there's 5 of them in the city. If you fail your year, in Dutch schools you have to pass each year in secondary school to keep going. And if you fail it, you have to leave because there's no other level. Because it's only Gymnasium. Whereas other schools, you would have maybe 2 or 3 levels, like HAVO and VWO together, or whatever, VMBO, HAVO, VWO. And then you can drop down to the next level if it's too hard for you. But in the standalone schools, like the 5 Gymnasia, and then there's 2 other lyceums, 7 of them in the city that are standalone VWO schools, you have to leave. Yeah. If you can't, if VWO is not for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I suppose that's the rationale behind that first year passing, isn't it? Because of what's to come, they need to know that you are going to be able to cope down the line. And it's probably easier to move a child after that first year than it is to cope with whatever challenges they might face down the line.
Yeah. The other thing about Vossius Gymnasium is they guarantee extra subjects in your schedule. So when you get to fourth year and you have your profile picked, you can also pick an extra subject, and that's guaranteed in your schedule. So the way they organize the school is they just say, okay, you can pick your extra subject, and then we will put it in your schedule, and you can definitely do that. So it's quite complicated, but they make it happen.
Yeah.
The other thing is they have extra modules in fourth and fifth year as well. They're extra. I'm sure different schools do different things, but what you can do in Vossius is like you can do psychology, law, photography, Oriental art, New York art. So these are extra society and art modules that they do in blocks, like 2 hours per week for one block per module. So that happens in the senior school. So it's academic, but they also have, like I said, the music, and then they have also these other options as well, and they've lots of different things.
Really rich offering there.
Yeah, it is a very rich education.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So
Podcast Amsterdam.
Middlebare Mashup with Margaret Kearns, giving us the lowdown on everything there is to do with Middlebare. Margaret, hello.
Yeah, hi. We were going to have a quick look at the Klassen documentary.
Yes.
But before I do that, I just want to briefly say, because in case I forget it, Barleas, one of the schools in Centrum, they were sold out kind of, online for their... These are free, by the way, but it's just what they call it, outverkocht, or sold out. So they've just added new online slots for February, because all January was sold out very quickly. And they've added new dates for starting this Sunday, and then rolling into February, every Sunday and Wednesday. You can sign up for their online chat, basically, with the conrector, or the rector of the school, and you can ask questions. And the other thing is, Barleas are ahead of the game here, or hopefully it works out, but they have also just, a few days ago, they announced live open days are back on. So they had organised them, then they cancelled because of the lockdown, like everybody else did, but now they have reorganised live open days on the 9th of March. So that sold out, just like they flew like hotcakes. So I think it was probably going to be half an hour, 45 minutes, run around the school again, for the child only. I don't mean for the parents. But they're sold out. But keep an eye on their website, because they'll probably add another date or two. So, and they have different routes. So you can literally pick your route for the subjects you're interested in.
Okay.
So my daughter decided biology, Latin, Netherlands, music, and that's the route that she's going to follow for about 30-40 minutes or something, with another an older student who will bring her around, show her these classrooms, have a quick look at the school. And we have our Eventbrite ticket landed in our inbox yesterday.
Well, that is exciting. That's going to see a real live school, albeit half an hour, but still.
Now, they do say, like the conrector, she said, look, there's hope. Hopefully we won't have to cancel it again, but we're going to try again. So I just love that Barleas are like, okay, let's give it another go, because I suppose they're hoping schools will be back in February. That the date at the moment, I think, is February 8th. That schools will be back. It's a little tentative still. But if that works out, then maybe more schools will do the live open days.
Yes.
So let's see.
Yeah.
So keep looking at the schools' websites.
That's best advice. It's clearly a very sort of fluid situation right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Great, okay.
So on to the Klassen documentary.
Yes.
The documentary that began in November. It's on NPO TV station. And it's a documentary that was created by two young women called Esther Gould and Sarah Silbing. It was in the summer of 2019. So what they did was they followed a few children who live in Amsterdam Noord, which is a more diverse neighborhood than, for example, Amsterdam South. So they introduce various children. So the first one was Anissa. She's 10. Her advies in group 7. You get a voorlopig advies, it's called, in group 7, was half of VWO. She was hoping for a VWO advies in group 8. She lives with her grandfather and grandmother, her Oma and Opa. A lot of her food and her clothing come from the Voedselbank. That's the the Voedselbank gives food and clothing to people who I guess can't afford it. In need, and that's what she's hoping for. Then it goes into the classroom. You see her teacher, Jof Yolanda. She's lovely, like she big hugs for each child who wanted it. And then we met another boy, two boys, they're best friends. Januskan, he has a VMBOT HAVO voorlopig advies. He's hoping for HAVO in Group 8, HAVO advies. His best friend thinks he'll definitely get HAVO because he's so supportive. It was lovely. I actually got a tear in my eye looking at these two boys talking. So he thinks Januskan deserves the HAVO because he works really hard. So then it went to his teacher then, and she had his chart out, his basically, his CETO results over the previous years. And you can see like the trajectory, I suppose, the results trajectory. And you could see that after each summer, because we get 6 weeks off in summer, his language, when he came back to school, had dipped, because he's not speaking any Dutch at home. So it showed in his CETO results. So then it goes back to him. He's in his house. He was sitting at his computer and he's working on his language. He was working on his vocabulary. And he just said, he waits until his house is quiet. Everybody's in their own rooms, and then he practices his language skills for an hour every evening. So there's a boy who works hard. Then it looks at Gianni. He's 13. He this is a tough one. He was sitting with his friends. He's now in Middlebare School, and he got an advies. He got a VMBO K advies, but he got high CETOs in Group 8. But his teacher still gave him a VMBO K advies. He thought that would be the best option for this boy. So Gianni said that now in his class in Middlebare School, kids are talking in class. He wants to learn, but he can't concentrate. So he's not happy. Not happy, I guess, with the advice that he got, especially when he had high grades. So I suppose this documentary is looking at whether there's bias in the system. Because the teachers, like I explained last week, they have the school has the final say over the advice that the kids get. And so it's asking the question, is there bias built into the system because of the background of different children, that are teachers making assumptions that are maybe not based on the actual ability of the child, but just maybe assumptions about the child's home life and whether they will be able to follow a certain level in school, but then they don't maybe give them the chance because they think, well, he won't be able for that because of his
the
family background. So are some kids being denied the right advice basically because of their backgrounds, their heritage? So then it moved to Marjolein Moorman. She's the wethouder of Amsterdam, which is like basically the education councillor. And she was having a meeting with parents, school kind of organisers. They were all sitting around having a meeting. And she was speaking about how she does not like the early streaming system here. She feels that kids, they have a good time in primary school. They're all mingled in together. They're all in a class. They bond, and then at the end of Group 8, they have to leave, and they all are scattered. They have to go to various different levels. So then you're split up, if you like, from your friends, depending on the advice that you get. And she said sometimes they never see each other again because they go to, totally different schools. One might go to VMBO K, one goes to Gymnasium. And she believes that the differences between the children are not so great and that they don't necessarily need to go to totally separate schools. She thinks this moment of separating them or giving that advice age 11, it's just too early. She mentioned Iceland, I think, and she reckons the age when they give this kind of advice should come at age 15 or 16.
Okay.
She has spoken to children, to people now, young people, adults, and she thinks it scars people because they think they didn't get the advice that they deserved, and they carry it with them for the rest of their lives. They feel like they were cheated.
That's contentious.
And she doesn't she just thinks you don't get happier. The kids are not necessarily happier because they're going to particular schools. Why can't they be in more? Yeah, she's not a fan of this
system.
This system, and I think she's trying to change it. She's with the PVDA. That's her political party. Mm-hmm. And my daughter watched it with me because obviously I need her for translating. And sadly, I can catch some of it, but not all of it. And she just said to me, that's a good point. We can learn fine together in Vossius school, so why can't we do it in high school together? So, so that was the first, and it follows the story. So there's other episodes. So I'll come back next week with a little update on the second
synopsis.
one.
Yeah, great.
So it's really good, yeah.
Great.
Okay. Definitely food for thought,
Absolutely. Yeah. I had no idea. So meaty.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Okay,
all right.
So I think that wraps it up for this week.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Margaret, for sharing that knowledge and insight. Really great look at the Middlebare schools on the lottery system we covered today. Two of the schools that you're having a closer look at, Van der Veen, and what was the other one now?
Veen, we looked at the kopklas system and also had Vossius Gymnasium.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. And next week, so basically this afternoon, we have 3 schools that we're going to be looking at.
Okay.
Myself and my daughter. So next week I'll be able to talk about those, and then tomorrow we have another one. So I think off the top of my head, next week we'll be looking at MLA, Lyceum, IFCO, it's another arty school, Ignatius Gymnasium. Let me think. I can't remember the other one. Oh, CSB.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so another close look at some of the schools in the Amsterdam area.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Broadcast Amsterdam.
Broadcast Amsterdam, your local radio station, 24/7 and on demand. Or on broadcastamsterdam.nl.